Have you ever stopped to wonder why Jesus called us salt? In Matthew 5:13, right after the Beatitudes, Jesus turns to his followers and says, "You are the salt of the earth." Not "you might be," not "try to be," but "you are." That's not just a poetic label, it's a calling, a responsibility, and a reminder of the kind of impact we're meant to have in the world. Salt may seem ordinary, but in Jesus' time it was incredibly valuable. It purified wounds, it added flavor. It even held symbolic weight in covenants and offerings. So when Jesus calls you salt, he's saying your presence should matter. Your life should make a difference. Let's break this down. What does it really mean to be the salt of the earth? Salt preserves. In a world decaying under the weight of corruption and compromise, your faith might be the very thing holding back the rot. Remember Abraham pleading for Sodom? If only 10 righteous people could be found, the city might have been spared. Never underestimate the power of your presence, your prayers, your righteousness in Christ Jesus, your life. It matters more than you think. Salt penetrates. It doesn't just sit on the surface, it sinks in and it works its way deep. That's the kind of influence we're meant to have, not passive, not hidden, but active, present, and bold. The early church didn't stay tucked away in comfort. They moved, they preached, they shook cities. You and I are called to do the same, to touch hearts, shape culture, and stand firm even when the world pushes back. When you walk with Christ, your presence can bring conviction and clarity. People may change the way they talk when you walk into the room. Not because you're judging, but because your life carries the aroma of holiness. That's not something to apologize for. That's salt, doing what it was made to do. Salt adds flavor. Let's be honest. Some things are just bland without it. In the same way, our lives are meant to bring richness to the world around us. Joy, hope, grace, love. When we live in step with Jesus, we reflect his beauty, and that brings out the best in others. Our words, our attitudes, our actions, they should make others hungry for something more. That's what Jesus did, and that's what he invites us to do. Salt creates thirst. The more salt you consume, the more water you crave. And when people encounter the real Jesus in you, not religion, not performance, but grace, they begin to thirst for living water. That's the power of a life truly surrendered. Not one that repels, but one that draws others in. The tragedy is when our witness turns people away instead of drawing them closer. That's why how we live matters. The goal isn't just to be seen, it's to stir a hunger for him. But here's the warning Jesus gives. If the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? Matthew 5:13. Salt, in the ancient world, could become useless if it got mixed with too much dirt or exposed to the elements. It lost its taste, its power, and then it was thrown out, walked on, and treated as worthless. Beloved, that can happen to us too. When we get too comfortable with the world, when compromise creeps in, when we stop living for him, we risk losing our influence, just like the salt from ancient times that lost its taste through exposure and mixture. We too can become diluted, not because we stopped believing, but because we stopped being watchful. We got too close to compromise, too comfortable with culture. And when that happens, our witness weakens, our impact fades, and slowly we become ineffective, no longer pointing people to Jesus, but simply existing without impact. Paul said in 1 Corinthians 9:27, "I discipline my body, so that after preaching to others, I myself might not be disqualified." He knew the danger of becoming a castaway, and so should we. Beloved, let it not be so. You were never meant to be walked on. You were never meant to be cast aside. You were called to shine, to preserve, to stir up hunger for God in a starving world. And the beautiful truth, it's never too late to get your flavor back. God is in the business of restoring. He can reignite the fire. He can bring back the purity. But you must be willing to let go of whatever's been dulling your edge. Don't settle for a life that's spiritually tasteless. You are the salt of the earth. Live like it. Let your presence carry purpose. Let your words carry power. Let your life make someone thirst for Jesus.